Sorry, I couldn't wait any longer. Jonathan and the kids are still getting ready to come out, but I have to get started. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Mo just jumped down there. I'm gonna go ahead and start with our. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember what this is called? I'm gonna go ahead and start with our stain, and then we're gonna be adding the linseed oil to the 4-foot panels. Let's just do this.
While linseed oil is considered non-toxic, we found that the smell is pretty overwhelming when you're putting it on. In fact, in the solar shed, Ashley got pretty sick for a couple of days doing the linseed oil on the roof of it because it was an enclosed space and there was no ventilation. So when we did the floor, we got this mask, and I'm going to try to find it. Hold on, let's see if we can find it, because I think she's going to need it. Here we go. Okay, let's take this to her, make sure. I mean, there is ventilation because we haven't cobbed all the way up to the ceiling yet, but it's smelling pretty strong when I stick my head in there. So I'm gonna go see if I can get her to put this on.
Breathing, it's all over. Believe it, I'm on your side.
There's spiders in it.
Who knows?
Probably.
Safe at home, crying out your lungs, honey, don't you know? Say the word, I'll be there to make it right. Anything in the world that can keep me tight. Say the word, I'll be there to make it right. Yeah, baby, I'm on your side.
Alright, we're going to wait a little bit for the ceiling to dry, and while we're waiting, we thought this is a great time to go ahead and make some of the vents that are going to be installed with the bottles. There's going to be 2 on each side of the walls, and so here's how we're going to do it. We have aluminum window screen, and we have no-see-um screen. We don't have no-see-ums here, but we do have tiny insects that could possibly get in the toilet or in the building, and that can cause problems later on. So everything in this building is going to be sealed off with no-see-um screen, just as an extra precaution. So we're going to sandwich the no-see-um in between the aluminum. The aluminum is just to keep the no-see-um screen from being torn. So we're just going to sandwich it, and then we're going to put it on this PVC, and we're going to add a clamp. Alright, so that is one side of our screen, and then we'll do both sides, and then this is just going to sit in there and let air pass through.
So this is a building vent.
Yes.
We have several other types of vents, which we'll get to
For the
soon.
toilets, yes.
Yeah.
And for the water, yeah.
Okay.
But this is just to let air pass through, just as like extra ventilation. So another thing that you can do with these is to go ahead and collect your dog hair when you give them a haircut, and then stuff this full of dog hair before you put your screen on it. It just acts as a natural filtration system for your building. It works so well. Have people can believe that?
So what are you doing now?
Well, we can't finish our vents because we don't have the right fittings for the toilet vents. So we're going to do some fancy stuff over the windows.
Okay.
Well, not like fancy, but something. Oh, that board is so warped. That's not gonna work. Oh my gosh. Well, that one would work. Trying to work with warped wood sucks. Okay, so we're just gonna screw this on. That way we can plaster up to this and plaster up to this, and it will look like it has a fancy lintel.
Like it's got a lintel, yeah. Next time we'll just make the actual lintel come out.
It's really
more, right?
hard to like, because our bags aren't perfectly leveled, but the window needs to be perfectly level, so it's really hard to install the lintel when you're doing your bag work and have it be perfect for the window. You know what I mean?
We usually make the lintel level when we put it in.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like, we don't ever, like, it's kind of a last minute decision
Well, I know
of
what you
how
mean,
far
like,
out.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So this will be nice. It'll serve a decorative purpose.
Are you just gonna screw it in?
Yeah. You wanna help me?
It's a beautiful day at the beach. I was losing my mind for about a week until I could call you up. I'll meet you at the waterline. Birds are flying up above. We both need to leave.
Lots of you have been asking about venting out of the roof, out of the toilets, there's a lot of things we need to consider when we're venting. So you saw earlier that we put in vents just to circulate air in the actual building. We'll also be putting in 3-inch ABS through the cobbed area to allow the actual composting toilets to vent out. You might remember the lid that we built for those. It's got a hose attachment, and that's going to go to this so that the toilet is always vented to the outside. And since we're putting a sink in, we'll be having a plumbing vent because you're supposed to vent your plumbing. So we're gonna have a 2-inch PVC for that. So same idea, screens, no-seam, pipe clamps, all that stuff, but we gotta add 90s to them so that we can put them through the wall and then essentially go down the wall on the inside later.
As I'm editing this video, I know you're gonna say, hey, you're not supposed to use 90s on plumbing vent. Yes, we know, but it just doesn't work with the height of our walls and the height of the roof. If this was a house, we would make sure that we vent it not using 90-degree fittings, but this is a outhouse, not a big deal.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, daughter has gonna yagi, her brain fried. My lady Papa Zenny, other lady popping Molly, why she waiting on me? Yogi my area, keep on heading if you want, I drive it like a no. I don't wanna hear you, just know like I'm Bango, cutting my hair. I just keep going though, 소식권 날 믿고 I fly non-stop. Kelly에서 New York, 구름 위로 hop on. Drive out and riding birds, honeyberry, counting doves. I do what I wanna do, 이게 나의 문이워 너넨 꿈꾸지 말만 많지 just do it Like Nike just do it Get to know me and I 내 flow가 잡은 눈이 분위기는 chill Fendi snakes on my barrel Yeah I'm feeling first class
Took a little longer than we thought, but we've got our metal screen, our no-seam screen. We got our 90 so that it can go through the cob and then straight down the wall, and then we'll hook it into the composting toilet. We still need to figure out how we're doing that for the gray water vent, but these are ready to be installed.
It always takes us a while to get back in the swing of working in 90 degree plus temperatures. It's really, really difficult, but in a couple weeks we'll be used to it. But for now, we're struggling. All right, so we got one of the toilet vents here on the south side. We also have a conduit piece for the lights. You'll see the little solar panel. That's for our lights inside. And the vent that's right there. So we're gonna start cobbing here and go all the way to that glass, the wavy glass. And I don't know if we can do much more than that because we're missing vents for the back. We are missing vents for the front. We are missing a piece for the sink vent that goes there. So we might be able to do some on the other side too, but let's just get started on this little section here. Now, because we added bottles before we did our ceiling, which in hindsight we shouldn't have done, we weren't able to secure the very edge of the plywood to the last rafter with a nail gun. So what we're doing, this is what we did on the shed too, it works fine. We cob, we shove rocks to where it puts pressure and pushes that plywood up onto the rafter, cob in the rocks, all is well.
You say you wanna be a star, but the city is so dense and loaded. You need to cover up your scars, and it makes you feel so distant with such a disguise. Why don't you leave it all behind and come back home? I'll make some sweets and tea, just like it used to be. You say you had to take the chance, even though you got arrested and wasted. It's been so long since you've been calm, but you don't need any gestures or favors from anyone, baby. Why don't you leave it all behind and come back home? I'll make some sweets and tea, just like it used to be.
Hey, how about those lights? Do you think we'll put up our solar lights today?
If we had time.
I don't know. I feel like we're going to get bogged down in making sure they're even.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. But I am going to use the rest of this cob and start filling in from here up to our ceiling.
Okay.
I'm not going to make any more cob. I'm just going to use up what we got.
Yeah.
And we need to start getting everything else done for the evening chores and everything.
Yeah, it's gonna take a few days, I think, of cobbing. Just because we can't, like, you can only go so high. It has to dry before you do the next layer. We got to do all these weird vents.
Yep.
I thought we'd get it done today, but oh well.
We're not prepared. It's okay. We have another day.
Yeah.
Are you tired?
Yeah.
I'm really tired today. For some reason, like, nothing went as planned. We didn't have the right parts. Bottles were in the way. We couldn't find pliers. So many things.
Yeah, and I think we had to undo some of the cob we had already done because we didn't take into account the wall. Like, we thought we had the corners cleared out, but by the time you come in on the 16-inch wall, it's a totally different spot.
Yeah.
Than where I think we were thinking when we were plastering or cobbing out on the outside. We just weren't paying attention to how thick the wall was on the inside.
Yeah, I think the lesson that we learned is don't rush and do bottles right away. Ceiling needs to be in, vents need to be in, things we need to like slow down a little. I need to slow down a little bit and not get in such a rush.
Yeah, and I think even if we had just come up maybe a few less bottles, like we could have done some of it. I think we just went a little too far.
I thought I had enough room.
By the time you put the ceiling on,
Yeah.
and it brought it down some, and then it just got real cramped.
But guess what? We made it work.
We have prevailed.
Yep.
Mostly.
Almost.
Well,
we just need a few more parts.
Yeah, and a few more loads of cob.
Yeah.
More than a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, who knows what's next? I think probably just fixing more vents and getting the parts we need, getting the vents for the back and the front.
Yeah.
Just all kinds of little things.
Yeah. Oh, also, you want to talk about the random thing we threw in today? Solar lights.
Oh, yes.
You see the little
The
solar
little tiny
panel?
mini solar panel is going to power our lights inside.
We put a sleeve in there for it, so the wires already run through the wall. We don't have them mounted to the ceiling yet, but it's just they're just little solar lights. They'll come on at night.
Mhm.
That's the only power in the building.
The only reason we didn't install those today is because we know that we're going to be super anal about the placement of these lights.
See this video when we did it in the chicken garden.
Yeah. Okay, guys, that's it. We are still married. We are still happy. Things are still happening here on the homestead.
Yeah, we're going to finish up to the ceiling, and then we get to go back to the whole barrel thing. And we get to explain the whole composting situation to you.
Yeah.
Which I know y'all have been very patient. We're going to get to it, I promise.
Very soon.
Very soon.
We'll see you next time.